Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, we got some more sad news, didn't we? Oh, God. In a year of losing so many actors and actresses and celebrities who've meant so much to us, another one's gone. Another titan of genre, the horror genre specifically, but he worked in every single other genre. He did voiceovers for video games, he did stage, he did TV, and obviously big screen material. The intimidating presence that is the great Tony Todd has gone. Age 69. Well, he was born December 4th, 1954 in Washington, D.C. and died November 6th. So that's a couple of days ago, but only got announced yesterday, which would be the 8th of November. November 6, 2024, age 69 in Marina del Rey, California. I do not know at this present moment what he died of. It's a cruelly young age to have died. 69 is nothing. And for a guy that was such a huge, big, intimidating presence in so many movies and shows, you think, oh, this guy's going to last forever. We always think that. They're in these movies, and the fact that he's gone, his movies will last forever. His presence will always loom large over our psyche, our imagination. We're going to watch his films and TV shows forevermore, and Tony Todd will still be there. All 6'5" of him, 6'5". That's a big dude. So is it any wonder that he played very intimidating personas in movies? Of course, Oliver Stone, he played Warren in Platoon. He's one of the members of the Platoon, alongside, and also kind of like almost forgettable, kind of not, Johnny Depp as Lerner, but you've got him as Warren, Tony Todd. Not a major role, but you still remember him. You go, oh God, yeah, I recognise him. When you see him in other movies, not a huge pivotal role in Platoon, but it started things. That was in the 80s, of course, and he did TV shows earlier than that and stage stuff. So Todd was working for 50 years in the industry. 50 years. What do we know him for most of all? What's he most famous for? It's Candyman, of course. The Bernard Rose. 1992. Virginia Madsen as well. Helen. And based on Clive Barker's original short story from the Books of Blood, The Forbidden. Set in Liverpool, but Cabrini Green gets shunted across the Atlantic and becomes something even far worse, more nastier than Clive Barker imagined. And without a doubt, it's Candyman that Tony Todd will be remembered for and revered for, despite a huge, vast career. But he is, I am rumour. It's a blessed condition, believe me, to be whispered about on street corners, but not to have to be. It's about folklore. It's about stories. It's about legends. It's the telling of stories to create fear and mystique in an area. People will use it to intimidate others. They'll use it as a warning to others. But within that, you can create a real entity. You can summon forth something from a bit of folklore which has a basis in truth. Hook for a hand, stung to death by bees, mutilated, tortured. He comes back, say his name 5 times, and you're in for a cutting time. And we have a hook here in tribute. But he did so much more. And you've got to remember that, back on Candyman for a second there, his performance in the first movie, it's not massively physical. He's not in it a great deal, but his voice and his presence looms so spectrally large over the entire story that you come away from it with all the nightmarish imagery that's in there. But Candyman, a haunting, tragic figure, but a figure of terror as well, is there deep within you. And you watch that movie, you would look in a mirror and you'd be tempted to say it, but would you say his name 5 times? I bet many of you didn't do that, did you? You stalled at number 4. Yes, you did. Mr. Todd, rest in peace. A champion, sir, a hero, and a villain, of course. Cinematic villain. He had 2 children. I don't know who his wife was. I don't know what he died of, as I say. I'm sure this information will come out at some point. But at the moment, the age of 69 seems like such a cruel, horrible twist. I reported a lot of people dying, like celebrities dying, and they were all between the ages of 75 and like 77, maybe 78. And there was a whole run of people dying at that age, which seemed horrible. I thought, what's going on there? Why are they all dying at that particular juncture in a lifetime? And then you get Tony Todd, a huge guy who you presume would be ultra healthy and always looked amazing. At 69. It's frightening, genuinely frightening. Many other movies, of course. The Rock. With, oh God, what's his name? Crazy dude, you know who I mean. Long face, dark hair. I forgot his name, I can't believe this. And Sean Connery, of course. Nicolas Cage. And Tony Todd plays one of the renegade. I think they're Rangers who come in, and you've got like Ed Harris as the U.S. Marine general, and they take over Alcatraz. You know that I've done a massive review on this as well, so you know the story of The Rock. But he's one of the bad guys, a black beret bad guy, and he will confront Nicolas Cage, who's CIA and it was FBI, isn't it? He's FBI, but he works with toxins and poisons and nerve gas agents and that. He's not a field agent, but he works with the chemicals. He's a genius with that. But they need him because these renegade soldiers are holding San Francisco to ransom, and they're going to unleash this chemical warfare across the city and kill millions. So they've got to get in there with this SEAL team led by Michael Biehn, who gets killed alongside all the SEAL team as well. But Tony Todd plays one of 2 really aggressive, nasty bastards working for the conscience-riddled Ed Harris. And he will confront Nick Cage over a rocket, because they're going to send these chemicals via rocket into the atmosphere and then down into the city. And cause absolute chaos and bedlam and a huge death toll if their demands aren't met. But and you've got like Stanley Goodspeed is Nicolas Cage's character, and he's got these. It's a string of pearl set up for the chemical, this green chemical in these sort of round files, and if one of them bursts, it melts, death aplenty. And he's got one of these. He's taken out one of the missiles, and Tony Todd captures him in this sort of bell tower thing, like, and there's a rocket there, and he's like, don't think we've met. Stanley Goodspeed, FBI. He's going like, yeah, you chicken shit. This is Tony Todd, you chicken shit, with a great big black beret on his head. I've said many, many times that the Americans in movies can't wear berets, and they can't. In movies, in reality, they can wear them pretty well. I know, because I've served with them, so I know. But in movies, they're always like a chef's hat, like massive and oversized. And I'm afraid Tony Todd wears it badly, but I'd never say it to him. Looks great to me, looks good on you, Mr. Todd. And he's there he goes, Stanley Goodspeed, don't think we've met, but do you know how this shit works? If this one of these bursts, you kill me, we're all dead. And Tony Todd pulls out his fighting like, whoosh, you know how this shit works? And he's doing all this. I don't need this. Throws down his automatic, his assault rifle, and just has the knife. But he's standing in front of the rocket, and Stanley Goodspeed realises and just goes like, what kind of music do you like? Do you like Rocket Man by Elton John? I don't like soft ass shit, Oh, you don't? Just wondering, because the Rocket Man, it's you. and it hits the ignition button, and poor Tony Todd, this rocket goes, whoa, he's like, ugh, blows him out the window. And this film has a lot of OTT kills and deaths in it, and Tony Todd ends up being impaled on a spike of a railing down below. But he's great, and he's a very intimidating character in an ensemble movie, which is full of great fights and battles and chases and skirmishes. But that scene is a great pivotal moment. You know how this shit works? And it's wafting this knife in front of him. Oh my God. But in so many other movies as well, and TV shows, he was in pretty much everything, you know, and playing a lot of good guys, detectives, bad guys. He was in the X-Files. He was a Klingon. He was Worf's brother in Star Trek Next Generation. Was it Cairn? I think it's called Cairn. Many regular viewers who know I'm a massive Star Trek devotee. I'm a massive Star Trek devotee of the original series. Captain James T. Kirk, Scotty, Bones, Chekhov, all of that mob. Next Generation, I really couldn't get into it at all, but I have seen much of it, and I have seen him, and he's actually really good, and he looks the part as well. And he's kind of got hair like this, to be honest with you. He's got the pasty welded to his head, you know. Worf is there as well, and I think he reprised the character in another, was it Deep Space Nine, Voyager? I don't know. There were so many Star Trek offshoots, but he was back again in something else, playing that character again. Cheers, y'all. He would work with Bernard Rose again. Bernard Rose is the director of Candyman. Of course, before we go on to the next Bernard Rose thing with him, Tony Todd would be in Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, Candyman 3, Day of the Dead, and the Candyman reboot in 2021, which I have reviewed, and he literally is just a tiny cameo towards the end, but he's there, and his presence is felt. It's, as reboots go, that wasn't a bad one. It could have been far better. I think they squandered some opportunities, but it's not that bad. It's a worthy sort of addition. It's better than the two sequels. Candyman 2 showed you what happened to his original character, the cursed and mutilated and deformed character, who, son of a black slave on a plantation, foolishly has an affair with a white gal, and the locals find out about it and they're not happy. Stung to death by bees, hand hacked off, and comes back as the infamous Candyman, of course, the hook-handed Avenger. But he worked for Bernard Rose again. Bernard Rose did a version of Frankenstein, a modern day telling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Now, if you get a chance to watch it, it's actually pretty good. And he's not playing the monster, don't go thinking that, but he's in there as well. And it's like nice that Todd got brought in as a character role in this movie. And even though it's a modern version, a modern retelling of Frankenstein, it's pretty good. And he plays the blind. Frankenstein's monster always finds the hermit, the blind hermit, out in the woods. Only in this modern telling, it's a down and out, you know, who's probably a crack addict as well, and tries to get the monster with his friend, a prostitute. And the prostitute finally sees, because Frankenstein's monster, again, as always, starts off like an Adonis called Adam. You know, he is the modern Prometheus. He's fantastically gorgeous and athletic and beautiful, but he's this dead flesh stitched together, and it ain't gonna work. There's no longevity there. It begins to degenerate and degrade and rot. And of course, when the prostitute sees what he's really like, she can't go through with it, and he just wants friendship and companionship. It is a good retelling of a classic tale, and Tony Todd is in there. Incidentally, Tony Todd also was in another classic retelling of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Robert Louis Stevenson's tale, where he plays Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it's It's not a brilliant version, but it's not a bad one either. It's worth looking at. Again, you know, it's a sort of modern day or it's a more updated version, but it's still pretty good. It's got some decent moments in it. And again, it's Tony Todd stretching his wings a bit. Wishmaster, Hatchet, Final Destination. The last thing I saw Tony Todd in was a film called Stream. Now, Stream was by Damien Leone, who we all now know from the Terrifier movies. And Stream was made about a year ago. I only saw it a few weeks ago. And it's a cameo-laden movie. It's kind of like a Bloodsport sort of movie where people are being hunted down and killed, and for clickbait, people are watching. People are all around the world are paying to watch, and they want to become killers. They want to be involved in this. And you have an overlord who's bringing in all the victims to this environment, who will be hacked up, chopped apart, burned, mutilated, and the better the kill, the more ratings you get and all this. And it's the most dangerous game meets modern social media and TV ratings. And it's Mr. Lockwood is always the guy in charge, but this will change. There's always a different Mr. Lockwood who will be in charge of the next game. And everyone, the police and medics who you think are going to be on your side, they're all watching it as well. They're all betting on who's going to be the best killer, who's going to be the next best kill, who's going to die next. And he becomes in a great chilling sort of there's a post-credit sequence, but he's the actual end of the movie, and he says like he's in a big, massive, you know, Cadillac, bulletproof and all that, like with a bodyguard and driver, and he's talking to us, saying that, you know, you're going to play the game now, and you know what the scores are. It's going to be bigger, better, nastier next time. This is Tony Todd. And then he set fire to this limousine and off they go. And he's just lending his name to a movie, and yet it ain't the best of films, but him being there lends it a grandiose quality, a gothic, powerful quality, which he gained from Candyman. You know, we shouldn't labour on that particular character because he played so many others, but without a doubt it's Candyman which cemented who he is in our cultural lexicon of characters. Tony Todd will always be renowned for Candyman. And not only that, he was also great on the fan circuit. In the last 24 hours I have seen nothing on social media but pictures of him meeting fans at Comic-Con and other conventions and festivals, and taking time out to be with people, shaking hands and posing for pictures. What a great guy. Not everyone does that. I know a lot of people do. We've just had For the Love of Horror in October, just gone, in Manchester, and we had most of the surviving members of the cast of The Thing were there, all really presenting themselves to the paying pundits. I wasn't there, I hasten to add. I wish I was, wish I had been, but it couldn't happen. And I even got asked to turn up as McCready with Roxy the dog, because our husky is a dead ringer for Jed. She's a Jed ringer for the husky in The Thing. But our husky she's old now, and she couldn't have done it. And it's a bitter irony because for many, many years I tried to get Liverpool Comic Con to allow me to go in there dressed as McCready, because I've got all the gear, as you know. I'd have all the gear on, and I'd be walking The Thing. McCready walking The Thing I thought would be absolutely outstanding. But they all said, no, health and safety, can't allow it, can't do it. And then to be asked to do this, I was like, oh how the world turns. I never got that chance while she was younger and physically able to do it. And it's just bittersweet, really. And she could still do it. It was a bit nearer to home, you know. If you could walk there with a few pubs on the way and a few pubs on the way back, she'd be happy. But not driving out to Manchester. That ain't gonna happen. So it is a shame. But Tony Todd would frequent conventions and was not shy about meeting people. He wasn't resentful of the fact, oh, my career has been mostly, horror characters or characters appearing in horror movies. And I'm just lending my face and very importantly, that voice, that really incredibly deep, sonorous, and very almost tragically laden, haunting voice. Very threatening, but also full of pathos and tragedy. A lot of power to his persona. An aggressor, an attacker, a nasty villain. But there's a lot more to Tony Todd. And even just lending his face and voice to a lesser franchise entry, it still gave it a bit more impetus. The fact that he was there, suddenly the film was elevated. The rest of it could have been garbage, but that's Tony Todd. Can't go wrong. At 69, folks, it's a worry. This is a worry. I'm getting older. I'm 55 now. I know, you can't believe it, can you? Well, I can. I got out of bed this morning at about 5:30, came downstairs, had a cup of tea, went back to bed. Got up again, came back downstairs, and was totally bouncing around, happy and fit. Hey, I've been out the night before. Ooh, for a Freedom Friday. It's now Saturday. And Mrs. Kilt-Man shut it down, put the kettle on. Kettle's over there. And I leaned round with this arm, and I put my back out, lower back on the right side. I'm a little teapot, look at that. Here's my handle, here's my spout. But that simple action of turning like that, put my lower right back out. What? I actually shrieked with pain. Anyway, I'm going to cut this short because it's not about me, it's about Tony Todd. But it's killing me now. Now, I've had a few whiskies to try and deaden the pain, but there's certain movements I just can't do. And it's a sign of getting old. Just things begin to fall apart. Just aches and pains with no real legitimate reason why. You haven't fallen over and banged your elbow. Your elbow just suddenly is in pain for no reason whatsoever. That movement should not have sparked off my lower back. How did it do it? And still certain movements, it's loosened up a bit now, because a bit of advice for you: when you put your back out, there's a balance. You've got to find the fine line between resting it and keeping it mobile. Because if you don't keep things mobile, a seized up joint, a pulled muscle, a sprain, it will seize up on you and you will become completely immobile. But you still need to rest it. So you've got to find, only you're going to know how to do this when it happens to you. But don't just lie there or just on one side. Oh, I can't move at all. I can't move a muscle, because if you do that, you're going to be in a right state. You will not be able to move a muscle. You've got to be able to keep walking, keep moving. So I vamoosed down to the pub just earlier on and had 4 large whiskies just to alleviate the pain. And I know when that wears off, the pain will come back. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the pub. Yeah, it's doctor's orders. But 69, I don't know if he had any illness. I've not read too much into it. The bios that I've seen have said nothing. Just that he died at 69 on, no, what was it? What it was again? The 6th of November. I presume his family were with him. I don't know if he was at home or in hospital. I really don't know. But it's a wake-up call to all of us, really, I suppose. These guys, these actors, we call them out all the time. Oh, you've got loads of money, you've got perfect skin, you're always in good shape, you've got the best trainers, the best dietitians, the best nutritionists, you're getting paid a fortune. Oh, what worries do you have? Well, they're working very hard. Tony Todd never seemed to stop working. You just Google all the movies he was in. I've barely scratched the surface there. There's so many movies and so many more TV shows. This guy was working and working on, and I clearly loved what he was doing. Now, that's going to take a toll upon you. I don't care who you think you are. If you're working more than you're sleeping, resting and playing, no matter how much you may love what you do, it's taking a toll. Acting, I know people, my mother was an actress for many years on stage and screen, small screen and on stage primarily, and chorus line, leading lady, one woman show. She's done everything, comedy, drama, everything, singing, dancing, all sorts of stuff, and she did it at the sheer love of it. But you could see that as she got older, her passion was there, and she'd go out and like, well, I can't really do the role I want to take for this, so I'm going to go into the chorus line. She drifted into doing musicals where you could be part of a huge cast but be in the background and still give it loads of welly, singing all the songs and all that, and then walking across the stage with certain other characters arm in arm, and you're noticeable. And she loved that, but she wanted to be front and centre and part of the limelight. But in the last sort of few years of her actual acting career, she knew she couldn't sustain that because she just wasn't healthy enough. Coughing now as well. And by the way, I coughed before starting this, and that hurt. And I thought, oh, I'm really in trouble now. But I don't know, sitting there and yakking on, the power, the joy, the endless legacy of Tony Todd may be working. Who knows? Cheers, y'all. My tea has gone cold. Not good, not good. But it's happening to us all. We're all going to get older and things are going to start falling off. But the more that I do these tributes to people that I've never met but known through movies and loved and revered, the more it puts, you can see the sands of time dripping through the hourglass and you can feel it yourself. Now, I know a lot of you are probably way younger than me, but you still know his movies, and but it's a wake-up call to us all. We'll live life to the full. You've got to do it, because what's the point? He spent like 5 decades acting, making movies, making TV shows, and I can only presume that he was very happy doing it because he kept on doing it. But to die at 69, when he got so many other years ahead of you, he could still have gone on playing just character roles or even just cameos in movies. That face could just be in for like literally a minute in a movie and it'd save that movie. It would make it elevated even more than it ever could have been without him, just by him being there. And so many movies are now not going to have that enigmatic presence. I'll finish by saying about the vicious irony of this. Today was lined up for me to do the Night of the Living Dead review, which I've been bigging up for about a week now, and the original 1968 version. And because I've been bigging it up, people saying, are you going to review the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini? Tom Savini! And I went, well, yeah, because I love the remake. It's one of the few remakes which actually really does do it pays perfect respect and homage to George Romero's original, tells the same story, but it puts a few neat spins which you go, oh God, that's clever, that's actually clever. You're not just doing it for the sake of shock value, it makes sense to your version, so it stands apart. It isn't just a copy and paste of what went before, it's something of that, but its own entity in its own right. And who starred in that version as the hero? Your black hero, Ben. Yeah. Played by Dwayne Jones in 1968. A groundbreaking moment, although George Romero never knew that at the time, but it was an epochal making moment. Tony Todd reprised that role, the 1990 version for Tom Savini. And he goes and dies. Because I say the news only broke overnight. I woke up, not with a bad back. I was actually alright until I got up about 3:30, the magical time of 3:34. Regular viewers know that in this, the Kilt-Man, the spook hour, the spook time is 3:34, and You need to go back through videos to know why that is. But this is the usual thing. No, nothing spooky happened, nothing at all. I just woke up at that time. And as we all do now, you don't even like turn around and look at the clock or anything like that, or listen for any noises. Why have I woken up? Scratch your bum, whatever. See who you're lying next to. Where's the dog? You know. I'm not alone in this. I reach under the pillow, get my phone. Oh, I'm okay, the phone's here. That's the first thing you check on, your phone. The hell is that about? 2:34. Oh my God. And then the very first thing I saw, the first notification, actor Tony Todd dies age 69. And I was like, oh, you're fucking joking. And he was like, lie back. Oh, what? And like, weirdly, a lot of the tributes I've done to actors over the last few years, it's been the wee small hours when I found out that they've passed away. Because of the similar thing. 3:34, I woke up, phone. Oh, Ian Holmes died. Oh God, what? No. James L. Jones is. Oh, he just. It's horrible. It is horrible. Tony Todd, though, what a legacy. Primarily with the horror stuff, but you need to look elsewhere. Many other movies and TV shows that he made infinitely better by just being in them. But check out the Frankenstein version from Bernard Rose. Now again, he's not the star of it. He's not. But he is a great, playing one of the great characters from Gothic horror literature, albeit in a modern day revamped version. But it's still bloody good, you know. And he adds so much to it. It's a good version to watch. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you know. Come on, this guy, he had a thing for the Gothic sensibility. Candyman himself is a Gothic titan of terror, Southern Gothic, but he becomes folklore. You know, our crimes will be remembered. They'll write our names on walls for 1,000 years. Our stories will be told again and again. Helen, I can't do his voice. I can't. Only he could do that voice. It just seems to come from like way deep down inside. And yet it's not James L. Jones style. It's not Darth Vader. It's from a different cavern, a different cave system than James L. Jones, but it's equally as deep and as resonant. You can hear inflections and gravel flittering about inside that voice. And as haunting and as frightening as it is, you'll hang on every single word. Folks, Tony Todd has gone. It's a shocker, to be sure. As I say, I didn't know he was ill. Maybe he wasn't ill. I don't know if it was a cardiac arrest. I don't know. I'm not going to make any speculation on that. But it's just a horrible, horrible loss to movies, to TV, and to all of us genre fans. It's a crushing blow. So much more he could have done. So much more. So whatever you've got, raise it in honour of Tony Todd. Cheers, sir. You're not just rumour. You are a pivotal icon who will be whispered, spoken and shouted about forevermore. Cheers. Rest in peace, sir. Folks, happy and always shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, this ever unnecessarily upsetting in between time, please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all later. And I have to be a bit careful because I've just twinged that zone just doing that then. Just listen to this for a second. Philip Glass's amazing score. We're actually now in Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, but it carries on that same sort of haunting lullaby and glacial, minimalist, ghostly quality, very ecclesiastical. Listen to that, it's so the organ and the piano and the voices. It's very queasy. You could say it's ecclesiastical. You could, but you probably shouldn't. And I'm regretting it right now. So, Tony Todd, he lives now in people's dreams. Rumour. It's a blessed condition, believe me.